Okay, listen, one more thing, man. The Sheena of it all. Like, yeah, Sheena's friends with Gretchen. Do I think Sheena tried to get Kiki to put out this rumor? I don't know, man. It is also messy, but my God, next you're going to tell me Sheena made up that Brock cheated on her, and that's not actually true as well. She just did it to sell books. How far down the rabbit hole does it go? I will say people that are on reality show for any given amount of time, their brains change. But my God, and Alex Baskin produces all of these shows. Produces The Valley, produces Vanderpump Rules, produces Beverly Hills, produces OC, produces Southern Hospitality, produces the Shaws of Sunset reboot. You know, like, I just, the Sheena of it all, I always love 6 Degrees of Sheena, but sometimes it's like, no, we can't keep bringing Sheena into these things. And by the way, if we do ever find out that something is so staged at this level, that's a darkness that I think really kind of ruins the fabric of Bravo entirely, in my opinion. And I really, really hope that shit does not happen. But I'm even so confused that like these journalists like Dave Quinn or, not so much Jacques Peterson, but Dave Quinn, of why he would then go tell Tamra this in the first place. Like, isn't there something about keeping information secure and your sources protected? And, you're not a housewife, you're a reporter. Don't be a housewife. Anyways, this is season 19, episode 9. This is called Life's a Beach, and then you cry. Get it? Haha, not die, cry. You could have, Life's a Beach and then you die. You could have left it at that because I feel like I die when I watch this show. The description the cable company gives us says, following Emily's party. Are we still calling this a party? It was literally just a place to do a lie detector test. Katie believes she was set up and pleads her case to Jenn Pedranti. Gina recounts the frightening moments surrounding Matt's heart attack. That's her ex-husband. Emily shares that she and Shane are not seeing eye to eye when it comes to parenting Luke. Okay, which of these stories are you the most excited about? For me, I think it would be, if I was just reading this, Katie believing she was set up. The rest, you're like, when you have these big storylines that involve like deception, that unfortunately now takes precedence to actually real life storylines like the Emily storyline or even Gina and her ex-husband. You just don't care about those that much. You'd rather something kind of espionage and intrigue and backstabbing. That's what we seem to want to watch lately. So we start off immediately. It's not really scenes from previous episodes, even though we're including scenes from last week, but it's edited together as like the beginning of this, where Katie's like, I'm not just gonna lie. I didn't do it at the lie detector place. And remember the one lie detector lady that looked like the one actress from that movie Clue, just like the bangs were banging all over the place. I mean, a real performance artist, this female lie detector. And she's like, your body reacts to questions in a different way when you're lying, which, by the way, everybody on this cast bodies should move completely hinky. And then we flash back to the Kiki with Gretchen and Gina going, she said naked wasted night. Gretchen had to go to the hospital and she was drugged. And then we flash to Katie on the lie detector test. Did Gretchen tell you that she was drugged and went to the hospital? And Katie says, yes. And then we flash to Gretchen finding this out in Emily's living room. And Gretchen's like, you literally said yes? And then the lie detector goes, she failed that one. The lie detector lady, I mean, is she auditioning for next season? Like, calm down. And because the lie detector lady is like, she not only failed it very badly, like it was a lie, but also it was an extreme lie. We're talking Manson kind of lie, just Dahmer kind of a lie. And then Tamra jumps in and goes, wait a second, in New Orleans, Gretchen, I thought you did say that you went to the hospital, Gretchen. And Shannon like whips her head. And then we flash back to a car scene with Shannon, Tamra, and Gretchen after Gretchen says no. And Gretchen goes, the next day, yes, I did go to... Gretchen has a very baby voice. The next day, yes, I went to the hospital. I don't know why she's with, I don't know if she was like caught off guard. So she's like, the truth is actually coming out. And the truth is in a tiny voice. I was so sick. I was so sick. And then we flash forward to Emily's living room, and Tamra goes, Gretchen says, I said I was so sick, I should have gone to the hospital. I should have. So in the baby voice, I forgot to say should have. I was so sick, I should have gone to the hospital. I should have. That's what I said, Gretchen says. And Jen goes, that doesn't mean that you were roofied. And Jen goes, that's how you've always said it to me, Gretchen. That's how you've always said it to me. Jen standing up for Gretchen. And then we flash to Tamra saying, I don't believe she said, no, Heather talking to Tamra. Heather goes, I don't believe. Can I tell you something? I don't believe that she said that to Katie. So Heather Dubrow, no skin in the game, really thinks that Gretchen didn't say this to Katie. Heather, I mean, listen, when you don't have any skin in the game, you're believing hinky things, right? And then we go to the scene with Matt and Katie, where Katie goes, Matt, did you hear Slade talk about any of this naked, wasted stuff? And Matt says, you know what? I'm having sexual relations with you, so I'm going to say yes. No, he says, yeah. And she goes, you didn't make it up? Matt goes, you didn't make it up. And then Jenn Pedranti in the scene in Emily's living room says, okay, so what happens now? And then Gretchen goes, as far as I'm concerned, I don't want to be around her. And Heather goes, if you want to continue a friendship with her because you get something out of it, no one's going to fault you, Jen. And then Gina goes, I will. I'm Gina. Yeah, I will. And then Gretchen's like, I might be a little upset too if you're friends with Katie at this point out. Jen in the talking head says, what Katie's doing is causing a problem with my paycheck. Friendships. Did I say paycheck? Friendships. Friendships. I don't even get paid for this show. I do it out of the kindness of my heart. Friendships. It's just a hard position and I don't know what to do. And that's where we start this episode. We get the title card. Ladies holding up their oranges that are bruised on all sides. We open up on a new day in the OC. We see the sun rising, a surfer in the ocean, not realizing he's being filmed. I always love these interstitial moments in between scenes. We all of a sudden see a boat. We see the boat and the water and the palm trees. And we're all of a sudden at a Sandra MD, and Emily Simpson walks in. And she is meeting Gretchen Rossi to get testosterone shots, you guys. That's right. To get in the old T up. And they're both dressed in black leggings and a white hoodie. Now, if you wear the amount of makeup that Gretchen likes to wear, no shade there, would you ever feel comfortable wearing white? Like, honestly, and also, I don't know if this is after Labor Day or not, but would you ever, if you chose to pancake makeup on, I would always go with a color that was not white. Like, I just imagine she's throwing out white hoodies right and left. Anyways, Emily and Gretchen are laughing about just matching outfits. And, Gretchen's like, I'm more than a friend of this season, I feel at this point. They hug. The receptionist is like, are you ladies ready? And Emily's like, this is the appointment that Shane always has on the calendar. Like, don't forget your testosterone appointment. Emily reveals bravely that she has been getting testosterone implants. So it's like a rice-sized something, she says, and they stick in your butt. And Emily goes, not in your butthole. Let me just clarify. Not in your butthole. That's actually Shane puts it in the butthole. I put the rice things in the butt. And she says it makes the world of difference. Her workouts are better. She wants to have sex with Shane. And then Gretchen in a talking head also does testosterone. And Gretchen's like, it's back in your 20s. Like, all you want to do is have sex all day long. Sorry. Did we just group throw up as a family? Pull your car over if you're listening to this in a car. And then we flash back to earlier in the season when Gretchen revealed to Emily that she broke Slade's penis, right? That's a good relationship when you're at a point where you break somebody's penis. And even Slade in the scene's like, she really did. She really, are you getting me on camera? I don't care what it takes. I will totally admit that my penis is just completely shattered. Yeah, I'm back, baby. I'm back. And Gretchen's like, yeah, it went like this. It went like this. It just completely, I just folded it up like origami. An origami penis. Gretchen says to Emily, there's a machine. It has to come in that goes, because I guess this Dr. Sandra fixes penises as well. And Gretchen's like, yeah, this guy, he hates his profession. Could you imagine that? I mean, I'm sure this guy's rich as shit, but sometimes when you're fixing Slade's like origami penis, are you like thinking about like, oh man, I should have, like worked in pediatrics or something. Like, I just can't imagine that's great. You know, like, hey, doc, there's a tip in it for you if you make it straighter, bud. Gretchen says, the curve, it was a curveball for me because all of a sudden I was like, ow, it hurts. What are you doing? I don't want to think about Slade's Franken penis all of a sudden having a curve that hurts Gretchen now. There's got to be better ways to make money, ladies. Gretchen says, so we figured it out. We're back on the way from this to this. Oh, medicine, you guys. Medicine. Emily says, but seriously, Gretchen, after my Persian New Year party, I'm hoping that Katie's, gone. Also, is it any surprise that Emily's on testosterone the way she was yelling for Katie to get out of her party? Get out! You can leave! Like Meredith Marks, you can leave, Katie Ginella! I don't think anybody will be surprised to hear that I have low testosterone. I cannot take testosterone medically. I guess it's like bad for my heart or something. I don't know. But I don't think Emily at this point and Gretchen have more testosterone than I do, which totally fits. So Emily's like, hopefully Katie's gone. And Gretchen's like, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to be around if she's around. Yeah, keep making your big threats, guys. Keep making, and Gina's the same way. Like, it's either her or me. Why would you ever say shit like this? Because you make it easy for casting and producers to be like, okay, well, you said it. We're keeping her. Peace. Also, if she's around and Gretchen gets offered another season, you think Gretchen's not going to be around? Bullshit. Gretchen will be like, where do I sign? I'm just happy to have another season. Emily says, okay, but at the end of that lie detector party, you and Tamra had a long hug. And we flash back to that scene where Tamra comes up to Gretchen and says, thank you for taking the time to go and meet with Kiki Monique and talk to her. And Gretchen's like, I needed to find out for myself. I'm out for truth, justice, and the American way, Tamra, just like you. I love it. This is how Tamra works her magic. Tamra hates Gretchen. Tamra has to go up to her after the lie detector goes, Gretchen, I really respect what you did. That's amazing. Going to meet Kiki for a glass of wine. That's really, really brave. And Tamra hugs her. Thank you for getting to the bottom of it. And I'm sorry that you had to deal with all of that. Gretchen tells Emily, that was very interesting. She's like, thank you for going and finding out the truth. And I appreciate that Tamra's saying that, but I also was like, this wasn't even for you. This was for me. I am cautiously optimistic, she says in a talking head, that Tamra's hug was sincere. It was ice cold, like a dead body, but I hope it was sincere and that we can maybe, be like, great, but I don't know if I trust it. Now, listen, this is where Gretchen does have a leg to stand on. A broken clock can be right twice a day, right? Is that Tamra's done enough shit to Gretchen where, and vice versa in some ways, that why would these people in any sort of reality ever be friends again? But Gretchen tells Emily, I would really love to have a conversation of like, do you actually feel some remorse, Tamra? That's it. I just don't want to keep getting stuck in. Emily goes, here's what I think I'm getting testosterone. Here's what I think we need to do. We go to this beach thing, and then we flash to 5 days earlier with Jenn Pedranti in her kitchen on her cell phone typing out a text message. Hi, girls! ! I wanted to see if you are free on Friday afternoon for a little beach picnic day. Okay, perfect, done. Now, on days like that, does the camera crew go, Jen, we're going to be there for a half hour. We just need to get footage of you typing this text into, because it's not how it works of like, they just hang around Jenn Pedranti's house and Jen all of a sudden is like, I'm going to send a text message. And they're like, oh, I'm glad we were there when we caught that. No, they're there to get that shot, right? Emily tells Gretchen, we can get like a handle on where Tamra's mind's at right now and put it all out there and try to reconcile that. So Emily wanting this relationship to be reconciled, but nothing with Katie to be reconciled. Folks, I've been introduced to a lot of products while doing this show, but there is a new product that I have fallen in love with. I am actually going to use my own product code to continue buying these, and that's because our friends at MeUndies is doing the Lord's work. I mean, I am wearing their underwear as we speak. I can't show you, and you probably don't want to see that, but it is truly an incredible product. As we enter the fall, you're looking for cozy clothes, and you want the same thing for your underwears. So this is style for everyone. MeUndies has a cut for every butt with over 20 different styles in 100 different colors and prints. There is unmatched comfort. MeUndies' signature super soft micro-modal fabric is breathable, stretchy, and unbelievably cozy. It is perfect for crisp mornings, chilly nights, and everything in between. Whether you're layering up for a hike or lounging in flannel all day, MeUndies moves with you and it keeps you comfy. Want even more seasonal comfort? Try the Breathe line. It's designed with moisture-wicking and anti-odor tech to keep you fresh through fall workouts or just a long day of pumpkin picking, responsibly sourced as well. They use sustainably sourced materials and work with partners that care for their workers. Not happy with your first pair of MeUndies? It is on MeUndies. That's right. So with over 30 million pairs sold and 90,000 five-star reviews, MeUndies are an essential summer must-have for every drawer. I use this. You need to use this too. So right now, as a listener of my show, you can get cozy and spooky for less with deals up to 50% off at MeUndies.com/SoBad and enter promo code SoBad. That's important. That's MeUndies.com/SoBad, promo code SoBad for up to 50% off. MeUndies, comfort that's made for fall. Use the same underwear I'm using. We're talking about our friends over at Mint Mobile. I recently switched, and you should too, because you know what doesn't belong in your epic summer plans? Getting burned by your old wireless bill. And for a limited time, Mint Mobile is offering 3 months of unlimited premium wireless service for $15 a month on the nation's largest 5G network. Say goodbye to that old plan that is going to be overcharging you. And this network, it is high speed. You get unlimited talk and text. So ditch that overpriced wireless. Get 3 months of unlimited service from Mint Mobile for $15 a month. This year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get this new customer offer and your 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/SoBad. That's mintmobile.com/SoBad. Upfront payment of $45 required. That's equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on the unlimited plan. Taxes and fees are extra. See Mint Mobile for details. DraftKings Casino has your playbook for gaming action all season long. Play thousands of popular slots for a shot at jackpots. Over $400 million has already been awarded. New players get 500 spins on Huff and More Puff over 10 days. So download the app, use code SOBAD, and claim your spins after your first $5 wager. Get in the game with DraftKings Casino, home of the largest jackpot win in online casino history. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. 21 plus, physically present in Connecticut, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia only, void in Ontario. Eligibility restrictions apply. New customers only. Non-withdrawable casino spins issued as 50 spins per day for 10 days. Valid for featured game only and expire each day after 24 hours. See terms at casino.draftkings.com/promos. It ends October 5th, 2025 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Emily says, I would love for Tamra and Gretchen to just have a conversation, or I don't care, go in a boxing ring and beat the shit out of each other. Now, Emily, what an interesting idea. I would be down for that too at this point. Let's just put him in a cage match, man. Let's go! Cage match! Tamra, Gretchen, let's go! There's only one winner and you get a ticket to next season. Emily says, I feel like there's all these grievances from 12 years ago that we have to keep reliving. Can we hop to 2025, please, Emily? Listen, Emily nails it right there. Can we hop to 2025? Is there anything that's going on in these ladies' lives in 2025? Or do we have to keep revisiting past storylines? Carla, the nurse, comes in with the doctor, and the doctor's like, hey, obviously looking just in fear of like, oh God, is Slade with you? He's going to whip out his dick again? Okay, it's just you ladies. Okay, let's get this going. And this is another thing. I see way too much of Gretchen's ass in this. And I'm like, Gretchen, come on, Gretchen, let's not do this. This isn't Housewives After Dark. Come on. I have a family. I can't be watching stuff like this. Then Emily gets her shot. Emily says she has a little more real estate in the ass area. Somewhere Shane Simpson's going, that's how I like it, baby, as he's slurping on a thirst buster. And Gretchen's like, yeah, I wish I had all that I wish I had junk on the trunk, right? Emily's milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, Shane Simpson, who? We get out of that scene, and like I talked about the interstitials, all of a sudden we see a bunch of dogs chasing each other on a grassy field, and then all of a sudden there's like this little sign that pops up that says no dogs allowed. Whoever does these, I see it. They do. It's a little bit of a different vibe than other Housewives shows. They're these tiny little scenes that you really wouldn't catch, but they're a little different in the OC. So whoever's doing this, I see you and I speak your name. Okay, so now we're at Oslo Coffee Company. We say Jenn Pedranti in sunglasses sitting outside, sipping a cafe with a bran muffin right next to her, as Katie walks up with a manila envelope. When we ever see a manila envelope in a reality show, we know we're about to get something good, because you just don't normally carry manila envelopes with you. There's always something enticing in a manila envelope. So we do the normal bullshit where we have to watch, Katie order a tea, talk about what she ordered. And then Jen's like, there's so much that I want us to talk about. Honestly, Katie, and I don't know, this is all so hard. You and I had so many conversations about our lives, about past and future. And I just feel like, what am I missing? The tea gets delivered. Very important, guys. And then I sit there, Katie, after a stupid fucking lie detector test. You don't pass any questions? In a talking head, she says, Katie has always been such a loyal friend to me, and she has been a good friend to me. But now I look at all those conversations and think, was that all lies to me too? And Katie goes, do you want to see something? And then Katie flashes her. No, Katie says, she gets the manila, I'm going to have a stroke again. Manila envelope. She goes, Jen, so that guy they hired, do you know he's a paid actor? I mean, yeah. Do you know he was paid for his services? Yeah. He didn't show you. I'll do it for free. Yeah. I do lie detecting for free. But Jen goes, no, I didn't know that. And then she pulls out papers. This is Wendy, who works for him. This is all on his website. He tells you like all these different things that you can book him for. And for some, it says he can do simple acting or he can do shiatsu massage. No, he did say they can do simple acting. And Jen goes, okay, this is fucked up. But, and then Jen goes, no, sorry, Katie goes, so I think I was set up by Gina and Emily. What? Katie goes, did you notice every question was a setup? And Jen goes, no. Because if there's one thing that you're going to have is Jen saying, I didn't recognize, I didn't see, I didn't hear. You're always going to get that from Jen. We flash back to Emily from lie detector test saying, ask a question that you want to know about each woman. What we are going to do is take a lie detector test. Nobody has to do this if you don't want to. Anyways, flashing to the tea, and Jen goes, they're going to think that's preposterous. Katie goes, if you don't believe me, that's okay. And Jen's like, I am trying to figure it out, Katie. Which part are you saying do I not believe you? Which part are you saying? And Katie goes, the questions from yesterday? We flash back to the questions. Did Gretchen tell you that she was drugged and went to the hospital? Katie says yes. We flash to Katie at the tea goes, Gretchen told us the story about naked wasted, and then she said, the next morning I went to the hospital. They did a toxicology report and they found something in my blood. She said that, and I will die on that. Katie likes to say I will die on that because she said I will die on that in regards to Kiki on these podcast interviews. So Katie's doing a lot of dying for like causes. But she's saying, I will die on that. And Jen goes, no, she said she felt like she needed to go to the hospital. Toxicology is a big word, too, for Jen to forget. And Katie goes, no, that's how Gretchen is twisting it. Jen, come on. In a talking head, Katie says, Jen doesn't want to play this game. She doesn't want to say Gretchen said it for some reason. But she heard it, and so did Ryan, multiple times. Katie says to Jen, I'm sorry, I multiple times yesterday, Jen, I looked at you and you were like, don't look at me. Jen goes, yeah, that's my pattern. Yeah. She goes, yes, I felt like that because you light fires, Katie, and you want to say Jen knows, Jen was there, and it's almost like you want to validate through me. And sometimes, Katie, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. It would be more honest if you're like, sometimes, Katie, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But she says, it took everything I could not to even get up when you walked out. But I sat there going, not this time. I'm not going this time because I felt like I'm a fucking idiot. Fucking idiot. In a talking head, she says, I hate that I'm questioning my friendship with Katie, but she keeps getting caught in these lies. Maybe if she didn't get caught, I could be friends with her. And she goes, and she ropes me in. At Hot Pot, she threw me under the bus. We flash back to Hot Pot, where Gina's like, she recorded you at the gallery shoot, Shannon, and then sent the video to Alexis. And Katie turning to Jen going, we discussed it with Alexis. And Jen going, we? Huh? Who, me? I did? Me? What if we find out that Jen is not in her body half of the day? It's some kind of Freakier Friday situation. I wasn't there. And then Jen goes, Persian New Year. Jen was at Mastro's. She heard Gretchen say she was roofied. And then we flash back to the lie detector where Katie says Jen was there, Ryan was there, Matt was there, Slade was there. And Gretchen going, you are literally making this up. And Katie going, no, I'm not. Jen. And Jen going, why do you look at me, Katie? And Katie going, I'm not lying. In the talking head, Jen going, you hear things or make up things doesn't validate it to be true because you throw my name into it. Stop doing that. In fact, it makes her, if you throw Jen's name in there, there's no reliability. But Katie goes, I'm not sure, like, Jen, like, you want blood? I don't know what to give you. I'm not lying. Jen says, I'm sitting here lovingly. Sorry for all the coughing, folks. It's just been a tough week. But Jen's like, I'm sitting here lovingly telling you, it's messy around you, Katie. At some point, there is just an accountability factor. Katie saying, I have taken accountability for the things where I misstepped. I did not lie about that. So I will not take accountability for something I'm not guilty of. I'm not doing that. And Jen says, yeah, and that tells me everything I need to know. And Jen does seem a little teary throughout this whole scene. And Katie goes, okay. In a talking head, Jen says, I've been waiting for something to give me an answer. Where am I with this friendship? Why does this keep happening? She doesn't just stand here and say, I've been fucking lying. Trust me when I tell you, I would have remembered if Tamra drugged Gretchen and she went to the hospital. Would you have remembered? I would have. Now that, I always remember when people tell me they were drugged and went to the hospital. But she said, Katie lied to me the whole time, and that doesn't work for me. She tells Katie, I don't know where you go or what we go. It makes me so fucking sad. It makes me sad the potty language Jen is using in this scene, you guys. But Katie goes, you should go. You should go. And Jen says, okay. But she has Katie's manila envelope with her. And Jen's like, well, keep me updated, whatever, I guess, whatever the fuck that means, as they both awkwardly walk off. Why can't everybody get along? We come back from break and we're in a scene where Gina is going over to her ex-husband Matt's house to have a scene with Britt, who is Matt's new wife. And Britt always, doesn't she remind you, like, just look-wise, a little bit of Kelly Dodd? Like, I always have to do a double take. But she's in their place, and Gina brought over a bunch of bags. We don't know what they're for. And Gina's in an all-denim dress. I decided today I'd bust out my denim dress. She says in a talking head, my relationship with Britt is amazing. I really feel like we parent together, and it also allows me to have a career and chase dreams. And then we see that they also do TikToks together. I like to have somebody to do TikToks with, so I love it. Things that I wouldn't necessarily be able to do without 4 parents fully committed. So in the scene, Gina says, so Britt, how has it been here since, everything happened with Matt? We don't know what happened with Matt yet. And Britt says, my anxiety has been through the roof. And Gina's like, it blows my mind that he actually had a full-blown heart attack. We flash back to 1 week earlier in a scene with Heather and Shannon, and Gina's telling the ladies, I went right from New Orleans to Cabo, and then the next morning, Matt had a heart attack. And Heather goes, can I tell you something? That is so crazy. In this scene, she tells Britt, I just can't imagine, Britt. It's like if Travis's huge donkey testicles exploded. And I couldn't imagine, if you didn't take him to the hospital when you did, you saved his life. You saved his life. And this is a very serious scene, and Britt is crying. I still am going to do the Gina accent just because I need something to make me laugh. It's a horrible imitation of Gina, but it still makes me laugh. So I'm going to still do it, even though this is a very serious scene. Is that her ex-husband had a full-blown heart attack, right? I mean, that's so crazy. But she's like, I'm being very honest about that, Britt. And I can never explain to you how thankful I am for you. Literally, because for me to not have to have a conversation with my children. I mean, imagine that, you guys. That she goes, that their father died. These are always those moments where you're like, God, the kids are going to see this someday, where you're like, maybe it's better if we just focus on like lie detector and shit like that instead of saying these things where you're like, oh, God, just even saying, like, their father died. I think about that. When Britt says she thinks about that every day. Is Britt so much in this episode that I was like, are they like warming? What if Gina gets fired next season and they bring Britt in and then Matt's like a housewife's husband? In a talking head, Gina goes, Britt beast moded down to the hospital. They had to get a stent in his heart because it was 100% collapsed, like he was having a full-blown heart attack. And as soon as they got the stent in, the danger wore down. It was a good wake-up call. He needs to be healthy. He needs to eat healthy. He needs to slow down. It could mean life or death, honestly. She tells Britt, this is where you really realize how much like us having a healthy, functional dynamic really comes into play, Britt. Because it was like no part of this emergency was about any bullshit between any of us. And like I was so thankful for that. She says in a talking head, this crisis was so eye-opening to me because it could not be more opposite with Travis and his ex. We flash back to Shannon asking Gina, is the divorce over? Well, all they got to do, Shannon, is sign a little paper and she won't sign it. This fucking bitch. And then Matt, Gina's ex-husband, walks in. I mean, Gina has lived a wild life because remember all the shit that went down between Matt and Gina, and they're both now with partners that seem very loving and they all get along with each other, But Gina goes, it kind of lights a fire under me to get Travis through his divorce so I can marry him so that I can have some sort of legal recourse in the event something happens to Travis and his nutsack so I don't lose my stepkids, I mean, Gina is totally right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, Gina, if you hung out with Gina outside of this show, you would probably love her. Probably a very normal lifestyle, I would imagine. Anyways, Gina brought gifts for Matt, her ex-husband. She gets Matt a Mediterranean cookbook and some baby aspirin. It's nice, right? And she goes, I'm serious as a heart attack. You got to take this seriously. I'm glad I got that heart attack joke in there, huh? So we get out of that scene and then we get to a scene with Heather Dubrow. She's meeting up with Tamra and then Jenn Pedranti joins in this scene later. And Heather's like, how about the other night, the lie detector test? And Tamra's like, I'm riding a high. Like adrenaline, whatever it was. I couldn't even sleep last night. Yeah, this must be what like bank robbers feel if they get away with a heist. Tamra's like, I'm so excited. I got away with it. Like nobody's like focused on me at all. We're all focused on Katie being a liar and Gretchen. I had just quit the show a couple episodes ago, drunk and on Xanax, and nobody's saying a damn. I love life. I love life. But Tamra's like, I'm like, what the hell happened the other night? And Heather's like, can I tell you something? I have really tried with Katie this year. I was sort of hoping she would redeem herself because the truth does always come out. No, it doesn't. And it never comes out on these shows. That's a fucking lie. The truth will never come out. Bullshit. Anyways, Jenn Pedranti comes with the manila envelope. I see that manila envelope a mile away. Anyways, remember, Jenn and Tamra are at odds. So this is interesting, right? So Jenn goes, I brought some props here. I brought some stuff. And then they order cocktails. And Tamra's like, I'll have one. Really? You just quit the show because you were drunk and you make fun of Shannon all the time for drinking and you're going to just have one? That's how much Tamra gets away with shit. She's even comfortable drinking again on this show. Okay, so we get their drink order. Tamra's just going to stick with the Chardonnay, guys. It's not a big deal. Jenn always drinking like an ASU fraternity girl is like, how's your strawberry margarita, huh? Let's do it. So they take the drink orders and they make a joke about taking a polygraph test with the waitress. This is the best day of this waitress's life, potentially. It's like, I was on the Housewives today. Anyways, Jenn tells the ladies, okay, so anyways, I met with that bitch liar, Katie. No, he goes, I met with Katie. And right when she sat down, she farted. No, she said that the whole thing was staged. And Tamra's like, the polygraph was set up? And she's being set up. And she starts passing out the documentation that Katie gave her. And I said, she's the one that we're all picking to. And Heather goes, they are not for entertainment. In this scenario, they 100% are for entertainment. Are you fucking... There is nobody that watched that goes, okay, this is very serious. This is not for entertainment. We're all going to sit here silently. This is very serious stuff. This is not a courtroom. That is not what happened. In a talking head, Heather goes, so the polygraph people work on TV? Guess what? My husband is a doctor on TV and also a doctor in real life. Can we prove that though, Heather? Can we? No. She goes, do you want to take pictures of him and put him in your file? Heather doing a little business for Terry right now. Yeah, put him in the file. Why not? But Tamra goes, I don't know anything about that. I've never met these people. Tamra saying I've never met these people. I bet she has met these people. Anyways, Heather goes, how do you feel, Jenn? And Jenn goes, well, she's like, oh, Tamra goes, is Katie like, I'm done? And Jenn goes, yeah, Jenn says then to Tamra, I want to have a conversation with you. And I'm glad you're here, Heather, because last time she and I sat down, it didn't work out, right? And we flash back to earlier in the season where Jenn tells Tamra, you are fucking sick, and I'll say it again. And Tamra goes, don't call me fucking sick. And Jenn goes, fucking sick. And then we flash in this scene, current day, and Jenn goes, Tamra, maybe I placed more of a value on our friendship, and now I almost feel embarrassed when I say that. Because I don't, and then Tamra's like, don't say that, don't say that, Tamra says, which is so good. Tamra must just be skipping in her heart right now, because he's like, and now I got Jenn Pedranti apologizing to me? Nobody's calling me out for my bullshit, and now I got Jenn bowing down, bending the knee? Holy shit, I'm wearing a Kimosabi cowboy hat in this scene right now, but I should be wearing a fucking crown. Tamra must go to piss in the bathroom and go, it's just too easy. It's too easy with these schmucks. Are you kidding me? I could be on here for 50 more seasons, Eddie. We got Venus CBD, we got the podcast empire, and we rule OC. But Tamra's like, no, Jenn, we had some good times. Jenn goes, I just want to feel safe in my friendships. Tamra goes, I've been telling you, I was really trying last year to move forward with you. And we flash back to last year when Tamra's like, I'm so happy that Ryan stepped up for you. And Jenn going, I loved you so much. This is last season. And saying, I'm so grateful, Tamra. You have no idea. This is why it's Inception. This is why it's Groundhog's Day. It's the same scenes over and over again. Yeah, Tamra, you said this. And then at the end of the season, you were wearing an FBI hat. Tamra goes, Jen, I beat myself up with the dinner we had at Katie's house where I got fucking sloshed and started talking about the FBI. I admit I fucked up and I'm sorry. What happened with Ryan was a aha moment for me. No, I think it was when you got a cease and desist that was an aha moment for you. But then she goes, and I started therapy. And I'm deep diving in shit I don't even want to talk about. Like that bathtub scene with Eddie in the earlier seasons of OC. Tamra goes, that little girl in me that gets upset is the girl that fucking lashes out. And Jen goes, but you'll do this and then 2 weeks later, you get backed in a corner and you're like fucking like, you're just like an aggressor. So even Jen recognized the pattern, and Heather steps in when she shouldn't. She's like, but are we going backwards a little bit right now? Well, I don't know, Heather. We went backwards 17 years to Naked Wasted. I feel like we can go back a season. I feel like I'll allow it. But Jen goes, you're right, Heather. We are going back. We are. Yeah. I'm just saying, Tamra, like, you got to start changing patterns because people it's almost like crying wolf. And Tamra goes, things don't go this deep when you don't really care about somebody. And I do care about you. So kind of buttering Jen up of like, the only reason I lash out is because I love you. I love you, Jenn Pedranti. I'm Tamra's inner child, and I fucking love you, Jenn Pedranti. Anyways, a producer and a talking head asks Jen, is this a step in the right direction towards rebuilding a friendship? And Jen goes, it's a step. It's just a step. Tamra in the scene goes, I really do, and I apologize. Jen says, I want to believe you. And I want to move forward. Now, she's wearing the Kimosabi hat, but I think underneath it, we also see the FBI hat just poking out, depending on how this scene goes. Heather says, all right, good. Well, I feel really good about this. Jen in a talking head says, I want to support her in her journey of therapy, but I'm also cautious now. And then they stand up, and Jen says, don't do it anymore, Tamra. And Tamra says, I won't do it anymore. And now they're holding each other at the waist. And then Tamra kisses her, goes, I love you. And I'm glad you're happy. And then Heather Dubrow is taking a selfie of this, and I'm going, I want the lie detector guy to pop out. Hey, ladies, this is where I brunch. Can I sit next to you? But they're holding each other. Tamra's just up and down and up, the kiss and the hug. What is happening here? Okay, so we cut to another commercial. So now we have a scene in a knick-knack shop because, I would be fine with them just having conversations in their living rooms, but we got to see some knickknacks. So we're at a store with Emily and Shannon and Gina, and Shannon's like, Emily, do you want to buy that pillow? And one side of the pillow says not tonight, and one says tonight for Shane, what? Because Shane's a horny sex guy. Not tonight and tonight. Ha 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 ha. And Emily's like, I'll tell you the not tonight side will be very dirty. Ha 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 ha. Emily goes, okay, ladies, I just have to tell you because it's on my mind. But Jen called me. And we flash back to Jen calling her saying, Emily, Katie said your people were hired. They're actors. They were not legit polygraph tests. And that you and Gina had to have every answer correct. Emily tells the ladies she thinks it was a setup. I planned all this. In reality, the producers probably planned all this. The producers were like, yeah, let's do a lie detector scene. That sounds good, right? That's producing. Emily says, I planned all this, that I had time on my hands. And Gina's like, well, who would think that? Somebody who sets people up, because I'm Gina Colombo. Hey, miss, how are you doing? I don't know, something seems a little jinky with all of this, huh? Emily in a talking head goes, I didn't even come up with the questions. I made sure the other women came up with the questions so you couldn't even say that I was biased. That's strict Persian New Year's rules. And we flash back to Jen in the lie detector scene going, can I really ask anything I want to ask? And, they're like, give me some examples. It's whatever. Who cares? Lie detectors. But Emily's like, it's not a setup. Just tell the fucking truth and you pass. And Shannon's like, it's Katie's last hope. And then all of a sudden, Emily's phone is ringing. And this is interesting because you would think phones would be on silent during these scenes with the ladies, but it isn't, and it's her son. And Gina's like, your son's so cute. You see the son's photo pop up on the phone. And Emily's like, hey, Luke, Mom's trying to make your college fund right now. And Luke's like, let me take Togo on a walk. Let me take Togo on walk. And Emily's like, Dad's not home. When he gets back, you can ask him. No, I'm doing it now, Mom. And Emily's like, no, you're not, Luke. Mommy just had her tee shot. No, you're not, Luke. And then Luke hangs up on her. And she's like, this is what I deal with, ladies. I get calls like that all day long. He refuses to listen. He talks like a baby. He refuses to go to school. That sounds like me, actually, thinking about it, besides the school part. But Emily's like, and Emily starts tearing up. And she's like, I'm sorry, Emily. Can I hug you? And she's like, I don't know what to do. Luke's very attached to me. If I leave the house, he gets so upset. And then I feel like I should go leave and go be with him. Shannon hugs her as well. And then she goes, but then I think, is that the best thing for him? For me to just never do anything outside of our home and just be with him 24/7? That's not good parenting either. I don't know how to help him. I am so fucking lost. And she's crying fully in this store. I can only imagine shopping at this knickknack store and being behind them, like not knowing how to like leave the store. Like, oh shit. Now she's crying now. Uh-oh. I can't how do I get past I'm going to break knickknacks if I try to leave here. And then Gina's like, where's Shane right now? He had to go pick up Annabelle and he couldn't take Luke because Luke refuses to go. And then the phone buzzes again and he's like, he's FaceTiming me now. Luke, can you please just chill for a minute till Dad gets home, okay? And Luke's like, lie detector test was set up. Luke, I've got to go. She goes, I don't fucking know what to do. And Gina's like, you're doing an incredible job. I'm not, though. Yes, you are, Emily. Shane and I was actually to a point where I was like, we're going to end up divorced. I don't know how to parent Luke. He doesn't know how to parent Luke. Then we fight with each other. And we flash back to Shane going, you want to try and solve problems? Or you just want to try and say I'm an idiot? No, we could just end the scene right there. No. As if you care, Emily, and I don't care. She says it's very detrimental to our marriage to spend all of our time and energy on Luke and Luke's needs. We're just roommates living in this house, navigating these kids. And where is the joy in that? Emily, you just described marriage. She goes, there isn't any joy right now. I mean, in all honesty, I joke about all this shit, but this is real. And I got to imagine raising kids is so fucking difficult. How do you not tie yourself up in knots every fucking day, just worrying about them? Like, I can only now think about what my parents thought about me being in theater. No, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so scary, right? And you have to worry. You worry about everything because you want your kids to be the happiest and to have more than you ever had. But anyways, Master Gina's like, you guys need to work through this. You know, get Shane a thirstbuster. You need to get on the same fucking team. And I was like, I can't even breathe. This is what I feel like every day. Shannon's just like kind of checked out. She's like, yeah, yeah. That's the end of that scene. Now we're at a scene at Matt and Katie's house, and Katie's giving their dogs treats. If these are her real dogs, can we even believe that? I'm joking. And Matt says, hey, what's going on? And she's like, I guess I'm just sort of bummed. I haven't talked to Jen. And the last time we talked, it was like Jen protecting Gretchen. I think the reason that Gretchen and Jen are still saying that I somehow made this up, she says in a talking head, and they never heard it and Gretchen never said it, is because their hate for Tamra runs deeper than telling the truth. A common enemy will always be very strong. Matt goes, what is happening with Jen and Ryan? Matt should ask, why is there a camera in my house? But what is happening with Jen and Ryan pretending like they didn't hear it? You know how many three-way calls I've been on with Ryan and Slade? Uh-oh, don't invite me to that party. You won't know. She goes, talking about what they told us at dinner. Look at the amount of calls. And he pulls out his phone. Look at the amount of calls I've got. Now, yes, we see Slade and Gretchen, March 9th, 2025, March 9th, 2025, March 9th, 2025, March 9th, 2025. There are also calls to somebody that is titled My Spicy Asian. And I'm guessing that's Katie. So Katie already getting a name, and she wants an OnlyFans career eventually. I love that my spicy Asian. Should I have a nickname for Rebecca in my phone? My spicy Asian. Jesus God. But yeah, we see all of these Gretchen and it's in his phone, like Slade Gretchen. But he goes, look at this. I talked to him 43 minutes on March 10th. That's a podcast, you guys. But he goes, I'm just shooting the shit with Slade? And Katie laughs because it is ridiculous. And Matt goes, you don't think he's not trying to manipulate this whole situation? 911 is what he puts on the phone. And we see the text messages. Sunday, March 2nd at 4:23 p.m. Insane! Exclamation point. Thank you. I'll try calling in a bit. That was March 2nd. Now, March 9th is the day that all this went down in New Orleans where Tamra quit. Now, I don't know why they blur out Slade's text messages. So he says 911 is what he puts on the phone. We don't get to see that. We see it's blurred out. So we don't see the 911 here, but he is holding up his phone. So I imagine that Matt is telling the truth. So we see Slade's blurred out text message March 9th at 4:11 p.m. And then Matt texting him back, spoke to Katie, try me back. And then underneath that, we see Sunday, March 9th at 9:58 p.m. And we see Tamra Judge that Slade sent Matt Tamra's I'm quitting reality show, the Instagram story that she put that night. So Slade really is up in all the business. They are like plotting behind the scenes. Now, Vicki Gunvalson on her podcast last week said that Slade on the Ultimate Girls Trip Morocco that Gretchen was on that we will never see because of whatever happened between Brandi Glanville and Caroline Manzo. When I say sentences like that, which drops like so many housewives names, I always joke about the casual listener that doesn't even, I mean, at this point, you're not casually listening to this show, but you'd be like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Why is this is way too much. But yeah, Vicki said that even then, Slade was so involved and talking to producers on Ultimate Girls Trip Morocco, right? But Matt says he essentially said Gretchen is going to deny it. And we flash back to Tamra telling Gretchen, Katie said that you told her that I was roofied you. She said you told her that. And Gretchen goes, hell to the no, I didn't say that. And then Matt says, and Katie needs to hold the line and stay with Gretchen. I said, I got a hold of Katie, and we have that text message pop up. Katie finally fought back. Gretchen and Katie stayed aligned. I told her what you told me, she'll stay with Gretchen. Katie says Slade alerted Matt, then Ryan, about this whole naked, wasted situation while we were in New Orleans. And then we flash back to the scene in New Orleans where Katie says, so Matt and Slade talked. Matt called me and he was like, what is happening? And Gretchen's like, yeah, because I got told by Tamra just now, you went to bloggers and told them Tamra roofied me. And Katie goes, what? What? In a talking head, she goes, I think he was trying to cover his tracks. And he thought by telling Ryan and Matt, he would control Jen and I. Classic men trying to control women, right? Matt in this scene says, whatever number of times I've hung out with Slade, it's him telling me about how he started Housewives. Someone sent me a clip where he talks about how, if Joe's not on, then I'm not on. I want to also say, like, once again, Matt is so involved. Why is everybody sending Matt clips? In that podcast that I was just talking about earlier, they were also in the Two T's on a Pod. Katie said, somebody sent Matt a clip of this lining up how Scheana and Kiki knew Gretchen. So Matt gets a lot of Housewives information. Like, Matt, you got to watch out. You don't want to become Slade 2.0, right? But anyways, we flash back to an early OC reunion where Andy Cohen's saying, Slade, can you understand why some people think that you're a media whore? And Slade's like, no. And this is pre-Slade completely demolishing his penis. And Slade going, you should remember, Andy, that after the second season of the show, I made the decision not to continue with Housewives. And Andy goes, well, Joe was no longer a housewife, so there would be no place for you to be on the show. And he goes, yeah, correct. And Andy goes, okay. I love, that's classic Andy Cohen. Okay. Like, he gets his point out there of like, yeah, this isn't real this isn't like the Slade Smiley show, right? But anyways, Katie makes a great point. Why is Slade so involved? Why does he want to be a housewife? Maybe because he's unemployed. His job is to be Gretchen's bitch. Whoa! ho. You just cracked some of Gretchen's foundation makeup with that one. Matt says, every time we've ever been anywhere near Slade and Gretchen, it's the same stories over and over and over again. And Katie's like, yeah, let's make you hate the person we hate. They're out to bury Tamra, Matt says. So I'm also curious, and I wish this would be asked, and Katie, if you're listening, or Matt, if you're listening, is Katie said you had that one steak night dinner, right? But what are the other times that you guys all hung out? Because you're talking about multiple instances of hanging out where they're talking about this over and over again. So what were the other times besides that steak dinner? Because it sounds like you're talking about multiple instances. But Matt goes, and then Jen left you out to dry, Katie. And Katie's like, yeah. And that's honestly the most hurtful part of all of this is my dearest friend is like, I didn't hear it. Neither did Ryan. And Matt's like, they were there. And Katie goes, I just miss Jen. And Matt kind of goes, huh, like, for real? You shitting me? And he goes, no, I know it's stupid. I do though. The amount of time I've invested in that woman, I've been so raw and real with her. So I'm doubting everything. And I'm sitting here like, am I just an idiot? It sucks, Matt. I didn't do anything to Jen, but I can't figure it out. Why she would do that to me. I don't think there's any coming back from this. And really, honestly, I'm okay with that. I don't think I'll ever be with these women again. And Matt goes, yeah. And then just silence. We cut to commercial. But once again, like, I know Katie feels bad about this, but Jen's been in Katie's life for like 2 years. Come on, we're going to be okay. Anyways, we cut to commercial. We come back, and it's beach day, you guys. Jenn Pedranti's beach day, where we're going to play volleyball with her sons. And yeah, she wants to bring back the fun to the OC. And she says, do I feel bad excluding people? No, she goes, do I feel good excluding people? No, but the right decision for me is to not invite Katie. We do see that the lie detector guy has suited up. He's playing volleyball along with his assistant. JK. All the ladies are joining. Heather brings her friend Chanel. Gina brings Britt, Matt's wife. Britt's having a big episode, right? And they ask, how's Matt? He's on the mend, right? Gretchen's there in full volleyball makeup. She brought her friend Summer. I guess this was like bring a friend to work day. Shannon Beador is just, stumbling. This is when Shannon must see these scenes. She's like, this is great for, I get to do physical comedy. It's a physical, I get balls at my face like Love Hotel. So everybody's introducing. Emily comes by herself, just strutting on the beach. So all the highs, hellos, you look great. Oh, who's wearing what hat? Who cares? Who are we missing? Where's Tamra? They ask, is Katie coming? No. And Gina's like, she wasn't invited. Yeah. And Shannon's like, oh, okay. Kiki Monique is there. No, but Heather's like, what? Katie's not here? And then in a talking head, Heather goes, but I called the paparazzi. Who's going to record Shannon's meltdown? Heather, you failed that lie detector question. You did call the paparazzi, according to the fake lie detector guy. Anyways, Tamra is there, and Tamra brought Joe De La Rosa again, Slade's ex, iconic early OG OC housewife Joe De La Rosa. Joe really didn't do much of anything in this scene. But anyways, they tell Gretchen, oh, yeah, she brought Joe again. And Gretchen's like, yeah, I see that. Gretchen's like, I broke his penis first. Anyways, they're all watching these ladies walk up. Hugs, awkward hugs all around. I don't know, you guys. Gretchen says actions absolutely speak words, and that does not show that Tamra is a changed woman. Tamra in the talking head goes, whoever my friends are my friends. I'm not here to please Gretchen Rossi. So Jen's boys are going to teach them how to handle the balls. So they're going to form 2 teams. I don't know. It's a volleyball thing. Gretchen can't play because she got the testosterone shot. And she's like, the doctor said I can't exercise for 5 days. Emily's like, I'll fucking pop a stitch. Let's go. And then Emily's like, Gretcher's is the kind of girl that, just doesn't really suit up. And Gretchen in the talking head goes, I love sports. I'm all sports. I'm Mrs. Sports. But I can't play today because I'm going to pop a stitch. The only good things that happened at the volleyball game was that Shannon at one point went and she's like, I'm going to get cheese. I want to eat cheese. And then Shannon like falls a lot. I mean, this is great Shannon physical comedy. Who cares? So the volleyball game's over. They all sit down at this beach picnic. There's little boxes out and everybody opens their box and it's like a little croissant. And I thought, I was like, oh, is this setting up the cast trip? Because it's so weird that a croissant would be in a box. They're like, yay, croissant. Hey, I thought there was something behind the croissant. But anyways, Emily's like, I love food in boxes. But Jen's like, I'm on a budget, you guys. And they're all joking and making fun of the croissants. Gina in a talking head goes, obviously, this is the bitch on a budget party. This is definitely not a fancy pants party. Trust me, I'm Casita Gina. Anyways, Heather goes, okay, can I tell you something? So something really cool happened. Katarina got into so many schools. And we do a flashback of Kat saying, I heard from Emerson, Chapman, UT Austin. Even though I would love to go to some of those schools, I don't feel like I'm safe yet. And then she tells the ladies, but as some of you know, her dream school is USC. And then Tamra goes, I have no. So Shannon goes, I have no pull. Like, we didn't ask if you had, but Shannon, obviously a famous USC graduate. I have no pull. But what I want to tell all of you is she got into Yale. And all we had to do is buy a Terry Dubrow Building of Science. No, she didn't say that. She got into Yale. That's huge, right? It's amazing. And Tamara's like, congratulations, Mom. Good job. Good job. Am I surprised that Kat got into Yale? Absolutely not. Kat is just one of those kids. Am I sad that she's going to go across the... I'm thrilled for her. And then Tamara's like, well, I've got some news. I'm going to say Sophia has her first boyfriend. It's not Yale, but it's a boyfriend, right? And Heather goes, that's exciting. And then Shannon's like, if I could tail in on that, Sophie did meet a guy. And she started to fall for him. And she, like, last night, he ended it. And she was in tears. So she flew in for the weekend. And she's going to come here pretty soon. So not as good news as, the Yale or Sophie having a boyfriend. But now we've got a breakup. So everybody claps. And then Heather's like, this is a good news Friday. It's a good news Friday. And then Tamara's like, well, except for Sophia. Yeah. No, And then Heather's like, no, it's good news. She's coming to visit her mom. And the breakup's not good news, but yes. So now Emily's like, say something good. And Emily's like, Shane's dad came home from the hospital. And they're all like clapping, like, yeah, Shane's dad. I guess Shane's dad had a severe liver infection, but he's doing well. He's coming home today, Emily says. She says, I have not seen Shane cry many times in our 16-year relationship, but his dad being ill and dealing with Luke and Luke's needs, it's way too much at one time for us. So for his dad to come home, it makes me happy, and it's a win, Emily says. Okay, great. Now it's Gina's turn. Gina's like, Sienna Rose did get a Character Count Awards this morning. So that's like a participation trophy, right? No, that's very amazing. But kind of Gina gets that participation trophy in Housewives a lot, right? I got a Character Counts on my 3rd season of OC. She got it, though, for being the kindest little girl in her class. We speak your name, Sienna Rose. And now it's Joe. Joe, what's your Good News Friday? Joe's like, Tamra brought me to film. No, Joe goes, so my husband and I, Taryn, have officially decided to try and have a baby. And they're like, that's great. And then Joe goes, 44 and trying. Here we go. Well, which is interesting because if they're setting Joe up for the 20th season of OC, we would see this storyline of her and Taryn trying, right? That's where my mind goes. Anyways, now Britt, Matt's new wife, Gina's ex is Matt's. Anyways, her good news is really good news every day because Matt is here and she starts crying in front of the ladies. I could not imagine life without him or his kids in my life or even my life. It was a really scary moment, and I'm just so thankful that he's here. And Gina's right next to her smiling, and Shannon's like, it's so amazing, the relationship that you guys you have. And they're like, it's unbelievable. Yes, it's unbelievable. Very lucky, very lucky, very lucky. And then now it's Jenn Pedranti's good news. And Jen's like, we finally sat down and we had a much better conversation, me and Tamra. I'm giving Tamra space, and I'm not stalking right now. And then Tamra laughs, oh, because I said you were wearing my skin. So, yeah. Now Emily says, what are we going to do with Tamra and Gretchen? And Gretchen's like, I know, because I keep asking the girls, like, should Tamra and I just talk, or do you think we need a mediator? And Tamra's like, I don't need a mediator. Tamra's high on life right now. She's like, I could take you with 2 hands behind my back. I'm just confused, Gretchen, because I asked you, did you ever say that you had to go to the hospital? And you said yes. And Gretchen goes, I don't remember saying that. But if I did say that, then I misspoke. We have that on camera, Gretchen. We have that on camera. And Tamra in a talking head goes, you didn't misspeak, however you say it. I don't even know. You told me in New Orleans you went to the hospital. So which one is it? We flash back again of, next day I was in the hospital. I was in the hospital. Gretchen says, that's not what happened. I did not go to the hospital. I remember saying that I was so sick that night that I probably should have gone to the hospital, but that was like the extent of it. Which also, she would be going to the hospital because Jeff, her dude at the time, the older dude that was going through cancer, was in the hospital all the time, right? And then we flash back to the lie detector going, did you go to the hospital after Naked Wasted? And she passed that by saying no with the lie detector people. And Gretchen goes, the test you passed with flying colors. This girl. Ugh. Tamra in a talking head goes, you lied, Gretchen. And then somebody says, Katie had said, Tamra goes, Katie had said Slade called Matt and said, we can't talk about this. And Gretchen's like, that's not true. That's not what happened. And I think she looks serious, but you never know with Gretchen's makeup. But Gretchen goes, you can call Slade. Like, Slade's going to be fucking honest. Tamra goes, oh, so Katie's lying about that too, right? And Tamra goes, well, she's been lying about a lot of things. It's literally crazy that you think that, Gretchen says to Tamra. Commercial break. We come back from break, and Gretchen and Tamra are going to go have a tete-a-tete. They're going to talk. They already have these chairs pre-set up for this conversation, right? And so they sit down on these beach chairs. And at the table with the ladies, Jen's like, why did she bring Joe? Is she really good friends with Joe? And Gina's like, yeah, but that's not the spirit of... And Emily's like, yeah, but maybe Tamra doesn't have any other friends. By the way, wasn't Joe at the table when they're like, but why did she bring Joe? Poor Joe. Joe's like, wah, wah. Anyways, we're over at Gretchen and Tamra. And Tamra's like, I don't understand why my name keeps getting brought up. And Gretchen goes, out of all the people you can bring, why do you bring Joe? Why do you bring Joe? And Tamra's like, does it bother you that she's here? Why wouldn't it fucking bother her, Tamra? You know it bothers her. This is a play. This is a playbook move, period. And Gretchen's like, it's more about what your intent is. And Tamra goes, she's so sweet. Do you think I brought her here to go after you? No, I think you brought her there to make her uncomfortable. And Gretchen says, I just think that maybe not bringing the person that maybe was Slade's ex is the best thing because we've had issues with Slade's exes before. Yeah, I mean, Gretchen does make points. And then Tamra goes, I didn't even go that deep with it. Yes, Tamra. We're all liars. We're all fucking liars. Anyways, back at the other table, Heather's like, I have such a weird place in all this because when I joined this group, they were friends. We hung out. And then Tamra got married. Gretchen was there at the wedding. That was filmed for TV. But Gina's like, Gretchen was there? Wow. Was she a bridesmaid? And Heather's like, no, I was, though. I was. I don't understand how we slid so far back. I understand it. How do you not understand it? Then we go back to Gretchen. Gretchen goes, let me ask you this. Do you feel like any remorse or anything when you said that I was cheating on Jeff? And we flash back to the 2013 reunion where Tamra says, I saw a guy sitting on Gretchen's lap at the St. Regis. And Gretchen goes, but does that mean I'm having an affair with Jeff? Maybe it meant there was no chairs and she had to sit somewhere. Who knows? But Tamra's like, but you kissed him. And Jeff was in the hospital. And that's where we end the scene. We go to the beach and Gretchen goes, when you called Slade a deadbeat dad. And then we flash to 2011, Tamra on the phone going, I just can't stand to listen to a deadbeat father claim that you're the one that's lying and he's the one busting his ass. Gretchen says, you literally started saying these things from the very get-go, Tamra. And Tamra's like, but I didn't. And Gretchen's like, and you make accusations that weren't true. And Tamra's like, I didn't pull it out of my ass. There were articles about him not paying child support. So I mentioned it. Now, there's no articles about my husband. You had no problem going out there and telling everybody he was gay. Whoa, zoinks. We flash back to 2017 when Gretchen's telling the ladies, so do you know that he's gay or not? And some random guy's like, I saw him making out with a guy. And then Tamra in this scene goes, and you also have to remember 13 years ago, Slade was on stage calling me fat. We cut to 2012 when Slade did that horrific stand-up comedy. That was the one where he also called, what did he call Vicki Miss Piggy? But Slade's stand-up is B.F. Goodrich actually said on a press release, and it said, Tamra Barney is now replacing the Michelin Man as their mascot. And he had a picture of Tamra in a bikini. I love that. I love Slade's dip into Seinfeld area. And what's the deal with Tamra in a bikini? You know what I'm saying? Right? So anyways, these ladies go back and forth. They've like hurt each other all day long. I do want to say something though. All of these things though, let's get a little resolution. I saw the same articles about Slade being a deadbeat dad. Like I get that it's hurtful to be called a deadbeat dad, but you can't just say it's not true. Can we get somebody to back this? Why is it not true? That's what I hate about these shows. Can we get some fucking specifics ever? Okay, it's not true. Why is it not true? Tell us how it's not true. Show us them. You did pay all the child support. Show us then. I hate that these things are thrown out there and then they're never followed up on. Like that's what pisses me off. Like okay. But Tamra goes, you and I. So I love that Tamra and Gretchen are like the Batman and Joker right now. Tamra's like, we go back and forth on all these things. Let me ask you. Let me start with this. And they're talking over each other. It's very confusing. And Gretchen's like, maybe we start with this. Let me start with this. I'm sorry for reaching out to your daughter. And that was about the, not her being not a good mom, remember? And Tamra's like, okay. And Gretchen's like, I'm sorry I did that because I know that hurt you. You did it because you knew it would hurt her. But she goes, and that was not my intent at the time. Oh, yes, it was. Tamra says, Shannon says, I hope that Gretchen can get to the point where I am. Like, I have indifference right now. I will never have that close relationship, Tamra and I. And Emily goes, but listen, I feel like you go back and forth because it's like in New Orleans, you're friendly and you guys go to the bar together. But then in my house, you're indifferent. And Heather's like, it also must be difficult for you to walk the line of having fun with someone you have history with. That it's like, keeping a distance. And like, wait a minute, I got to be smart and protect myself. Heather's nailed that, right? Like, that's it. It's really tricky. And all Shannon would need to do, this is why it's really hard to go against Tamra, because Tamra will bash Shannon in the press, bash Shannon all day long. But if Shannon literally just says, Tamra, I love you, I want to be friends with you, it would all go away. It would all go away. That's Tamra's playbook. Heather in a Talking Head says, when you have a relationship with someone for a long time, there's roots there, and you don't just throw that away, despite the difficult times. Back to Gretchen. Gretchen says, Tamra, I was really hoping that maybe you would be able to come to the table and say, you know what, Gretchen, I'm sorry that I ever got involved. And Tamra's like, we haven't gotten there, Gretchen. You don't let me talk. And Gretchen's like, because you always have an excuse for your behavior. It's not an excuse, Gretchen. This is communicating. Yes, I am sorry I sat down with Slade. Maybe you don't remember this. And apologized. I smell a flashback coming on. Oh, there it is, 2012. Where Slade's talking to Tamra saying the whole deadbeat dad thing is so detrimental. I know you understand this. And Tamra going, I sincerely would like to apologize for everything that's happened. Has anybody made a supercut of all of Tamra's apologies throughout all of the seasons? It would probably be 8 hours. It would be longer than this podcast. Right. But her apologizing Slade for everything that happened. In this scene, Gretchen goes, but you're still back out on your podcast talking about Slade being a deadbeat dad. Tamra goes, I didn't call him a deadbeat dad. Oh, I'm sensing a podcast flashback. We do. 2023, 2 T's in the pod. Tamra saying, this is not shocking to me. Michelle lost everything taking care of her son. That's Slade's son. Michelle is having to go through a GoFundMe to pay for his services. By the way, I thought that was it was to get probably at Gretchen and Slade, but it was a very nice thing for Michelle to actually pay, like this lady needed money to bury her son. But Gretchen goes, Tamra, you know that's what your intent was. And Gretchen goes, Tamra goes, first of all, iHeart puts together all our headlines. Uh-oh. Now she's blamed a media company, iHeartRadio, you guys. iHeart puts together all the headlines. So if they didn't put together the headline, you would have still said it, but they're the one that promoted it. But Gretchen goes, you could say that I don't want to do that. And Tamra's like, why would I do that? I don't like you. Honesty, finally. Gretchen goes, do you want to move forward or no? Tamra goes, yeah, I guess. I want to move forward, but I can't dwell on are obsessed with it. You won't let it go. Let it go, Gretchen. What is it going to take for you to let things go? And Gretchen's like, I'm not going to let it go. What you did caused so much pain and hurt to both Slade and I in our lives. Because when you put out that Slade is a deadbeat dad, when Slade tries to get work to help support his family or to help his son back in the day, people would pull that up and Google it and look it up and see Slade is a deadbeat dad. So Tamra affected the job market for Slade, you guys. Tamra's like, I affected him getting jobs? And Gretchen goes, 100%. I love, what if Slade was like, babe, I've been looking for jobs all day long. They all say it's because of Tamra. Meanwhile, Slade's just out there biking, having the time of his life, not working. But Gretchen says, it's your fault. And Tamra's like, I wasn't aware of that. I predict Slade having a podcast on the 2T's network in a year. She goes, I'm very sorry. And Gretchen's like, are you really? And Tamra's like, yeah, I really am. And now Tamra moves her chair closer to her and holds Gretchen's hands. This fake, phony, baloney shit, I just stop. And Tamra's like, okay, I'm serious. I'm sorry. I don't want to see you hurting, and I don't want what I said affect your life in any way. And Gretchen goes, it still is, but we're going to work through it then. We're going to work through it then. And I'm willing to move forward. Tamra doesn't kiss her on the lips like she kissed Jen earlier. Gretchen in her talking head says, I want to believe she's being sincere. So I'm hoping that moving forward just isn't going to make up stupid shit anymore. Tamra in a talking head goes, I am excited. No, I'm not excited. I am happy to move forward with these girls because I'm not in a place right now in my life where I really want to fight with anybody. Now I just have Shannon. See, she's knocking them down one by one. It's that easy. She's a master, Tamra. But then Tamra goes, Gretchen, let's just have fun. And Gretchen's like, we've always been able to have fun together. And then Tamra goes, let's get naked wasted. She doesn't say that, but wouldn't it be funny? Let's do it naked wasted, baby. And then Tamra's like, we can have more fun than them. Let's have fun. Girls just want to have fun. Woo! And then Tamra's like, should we hold hands and skip? And then they do that. Oh, Jesus, God. I'm going to puke. Sorry to be so negative, Nancy, right now, you guys. But they're like, hell froze over. And Shannon's like, what? What? Shannon's reaction, what? And then they're posing. And now Shannon realizing she's the only one on the outside. And Shannon's like, I'm going to be the asshole of the group then. I'm going to be the asshole. And Shannon, I'm going to be the asshole of the group then. And Emily goes, yes, you are. Yes, you are, Shannon. Cut to our last commercial of the episode. We come back and Shannon's like, if Jen and Gretchen want to resolve multiple years of issues with Tamra in a 10-minute conversation and then skip along the beach like a 5-year-old, that's fine. That's fine. I've been there. I've done the skipping off too. I'm not going to do it anymore. Good for you, Shannon. Stay strong. Stay strong. Shannon in the scene goes, is it step one of multiple steps or are you good? And Gretchen says, it's step one. It's step one. Gretchen just thrilled as she's a friend of. Gretchen's thrilled. And Heather's like, to Good Friday. Step one. Daughters in Yale. Yes. And Gina's like, how many steps are there? That's what I want to know. Ooh. The producer asked Shannon, do you think it's going to last? I know it's not going to last. Shannon's right. Emily says their relationship's like a gallon of milk. It's going to go bad. It's got like a 2-week shelf life. That's it. And then Sophie, Shannon's daughter, gets there. Everybody's like, yay, Sophie. That's what Sophie needs to get over the breakup, hanging out with all these backstabbing liars. To make Sophie feel better, they're all going to tell their worst breakup stories. And so he's like, great, that's awesome. Start with Gina. And Gina's like, Matt was drunk and he tried to abuse. She goes, Gina goes, I don't know if this is the best route for cheering somebody up, since most of us around this table have had relationships that have crashed and burned. I mean, my worst breakup story was probably my divorce. But it all landed where it was supposed to be. And then Tamra goes, and Joe, we don't want to hear your best breakup story because it's with Slade. And poor Joe doesn't get to say anything this episode. And we flash back to Slade's breakup with Joe in 2007. We've seen this clip a dozen times this season, it feels like. That they broke up on a couch at the therapist's office. And then Heather's like, I was in middle school, and my boyfriend at the time broke up with me on a soccer field. Terry has since bought that soccer field. But with his whole posse of guys, he broke up with me. By the way, he's gay. Oh, great. Heather just outed this guy. By the way, he is now gay. I turned him gay. But everybody's laughing. Ah, ha, 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 ha. I know it for sure. Now, Jen goes, well, I remember I was so obsessed with this wrestler, and he had a Bronco, and I liked him so much. I went over to a house party, and I was like, we're like small town, right? You know, so you're just going to have sex. This man was Hulk Hogan, you guys. No, everybody's laughing. So they're like, oh, and Shannon's like, wait, you had sex with him? And Jen's like, yeah. And then he had his friend take me home. Oh, weird. So they just brought a truck around for Jen to have sex in? And then Jen was like, and I was like, do you think he likes me when I was being driven home? Dark. Maybe Jen truly doesn't remember. Who knows? And then Tamra's like, I killed 30 men. Tamra goes, I did have a boyfriend way back in the 80s. He broke up with me. I used to live with him, and well, I still had the key to his place. And they're like, uh-oh. I found out he was on a date, so I went in, and he had a leather jacket. And I took a knife, and I ripped it all up. And I walked in the garage, and I had a knife in my hand, and he opened up the garage door. And I was standing there, and he's got the girl in the car, and he's like, by the way, talk about, like, is there any police reports about this? Like, we're all laughing, but I feel like we should all be shocked. Like, what? I had a knife, and there's a bloody knife. And everybody's like laughing. Jen's like, you showed him, Tamra. You showed him. And Gretchen goes, note to self, don't piss Tamra off. And we're all laughing. Jen says, this is why therapy is so important. And then Shannon goes, someday, Sophie, you're going to sit at a table and you're going to laugh about your breakup stories. And then Gretchen goes, and God has something so much better for you. Oh, and God has he's going to set, God's going to set you up with one of the disciples, Sophie. So then they all cheers. And that's the end of the episode, folks. But don't worry, we've got the mid-season trailer to talk about right now, as they watch the birds in the sky fly together. Ugh, gross. Okay, coming up, this rest of the season, and we have like this like night vision camera, and this car with like Tamra and some of the ladies are in, and this guy like breaks a glass outside the car, and Gina's like, roll your window up, Tamra. And the guy's like, hey, you guys got any change? Hey, come on, you gotta have you gotta have change in a car like this, huh? And Tamra's like, roll up the windows, drive the car. And then we see that it's set up with Shannon. Shannon's like, what are you doing? Is this part of the show? And we see that it's a part of Punk'd, you guys. Ashton Kutcher pops out. They're being punked by being potentially robbed and assaulted. This is the kind of funny that only OC can bring, you guys. Still to come this season on The Real Housewives of Orange County. And we see they're in like some kind of wine country on like motorbikes. We see strippers, male strippers. We see Shannon tripping in the winery and falling on Jenn Pedranti. Classic Shannon. We see that they take a trip to Amsterdam, you guys. And of course, they smoke weed every day. They're at a weed store and smoking weed. And then we see in Amsterdam of like, you can make your own dick here. And Jen's like, do you have fun with this? And the ladies that's running the dick-making workshop is like, of course you have fun with this. And then we see them in cowboy hats, and Jenn Pedranti says, we're like some hawk tuas. And Shannon's like, the what? And then in a talking head, Shannon goes, I'm not a spitter. And the producer goes, are you more of a swallower, Shannon? And Shannon's like, oh my God. Oh my God. And then a scene with Tamra and Gina, and Gina's like, with Shannon, I do worry about her. And Tamra's like, she doesn't feel like she has a problem. Okay, so now we're on the Shannon drinking storyline that Tamra pushes every fucking year. And then we see Shannon cheersing tipsy, like, to Amsterdam. Don't give a let fucking Shannon have some fun if she's not driving. Jeez. Tamra says, even Gina, Shannon, said she's concerned about your drinking right now. Gina and a talking head going, are you fucking kidding me? And then we have Heather saying, who do you trust the least? And Heather says, Tamra. And Jen saying to Emily, do they have a real friendship? And Emily goes, Heather's scared of her. Yeah, I at this point believe that's true. And Gina saying to somebody, when did Heather become such a pussy? And then Shannon saying, here comes the bride, and bringing out a cake for Jenn Pedranti. I'm guessing this is like a bridal shower. And then Jen's daughter going, it's like so weird that you're getting married again, Mom. And in a talking head, Jen says, if it didn't work for them, my kids, I would have to lose Ryan. And then Tamra talking to Eddie saying, Gretchen got drunk and proceeded to tell a story about me. And then Gretchen in a scene going, I have kept my mouth shut forever. And then Tamra going, fuck off! Uh-oh, that little girl is raging again. Therapy's not working. And Tamra like confronting Gretchen with the middle fingers, like getting in Gretchen's face. And everybody's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then Emily going, Tamra wanted to talk to Katie because there's something that she wants to know about you, talking to Gretchen. And they're all in cowboy hats. And then Heather goes, oh my God, this is about human decency. And then Tamra saying, I want an exclamation. And Emily going, where do we go from here? And then Gina crying, I don't like any of this. Ah. And then Shannon going, guys, what are those drums? And she's like, this is the Real Housewives of Orange County music. Ding, 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 ding. Is this the fuck with my head? And that's the mid-season trailer, you guys. So obviously, Tamra and Gretchen, there is war still. Who knows? We do not see Katie in this at all. But that is the rest of the season, according to the mid-season trailer. Okay, this was a long one, you guys. I hope you enjoyed some of this. I know we got in the weeds. I hope you had some laughs. But thank you for being here all week. I think we had a lot of good episodes this week. Thank you for always supporting. If you like this podcast, or even if you sort of like this podcast, even if you don't like this podcast, consider rating it 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you. Like, subscribe, comment. I don't know what you do with the YouTube, but thank you for watching this. And I'm going to do a Patreon episode this weekend. Sorry I wasn't able to do one this week. I've been sick for most of the week, but we still got these episodes out, so I hope you enjoy it. It's Friday, though, so this weekend, eat something good, drink something great, tell people you love them, hang out with yourself, not like sexy, but like just hang out with yourself. Maybe do some exercise or not, who cares? Watch something, but not reality TV. Watch something like written by an actual person, not AI. Read a book, check out a magazine, drink something good, all of that stuff, and then come back bright and early on Monday for an all-new Pop Culture Roundup with Sophie Ross. Bye, you guys. Wow, what a shit show.